Welcome to Wholesale and Retail Level 3. This is Miss Mndebele, and today is lesson number 7, where we are still busy with the processes that are within the distribution center. When we look at our previous lesson, just to recap a bit, we looked at the different methods that are there that are used when you are storing the different types of merchandise in the distribution center, where we looked at clothing, how that merchandise, food, how to store those products at the distribution center. So today's lesson, we are looking at the relationship between peak slots and reserve slots. So we have introduced the slots. We firstly described what is a slot number, where we said that is the number that it will be given to a certain rack where we will put our product. So we have different slots within our distribution center. So you'll find that we have reserve slots and also we have peak slots. So when we talk about reserve slots, these are slots that we use to stock until it's needed, and then it's moved into a peak slot. So you'll find that our distribution center, I said it has racks. It doesn't have shelves, but it's the same thing, because we say it's shelves at the retail store, but at the distribution center we say it's racks. So a reserve slot, we use it to store these products that we have received from our suppliers up until we need it. Then we will receive our orders from our retail stores. Then when we receive our orders, then we'll move our products from our reserve slot into our peak slot. Our peak slot is where now our pickers will go to those slots and pick the orders that are needed by our retail stores. So a peak slot, normally it would be an easy to reach rack where our pickers are able to just go to that rack and pick whatever product that is needed. Then you'll find that some other distribution center, you'll find they have main up machineries or cranes. They can pick slots from any stock from any slot. So in this section of the distribution center, they do not have this to separate pick slots and also reserve slots. Then we have to replenish. So when we replenish, it's where something has been, stock is finished, then we have to put in more stock. So reserve slots are usually stored at heights. So you'll find that they're up there, maybe on the third shelf or third rack. So that will be our reserve slot. It is then let down and unpacked, and the smaller packs put into to pick slot. So you'll find that there's a product that you have storing into our reserve stock, maybe like your 10 kg of sugar. We put them at the reserve stock. Obviously, our pickers, if they do not have cranes and machinery that they would use, we'll have to have pick slot and reserve slot. So we will take it from our reserve slot if ever we receive an order for it and put it into our pick slot. So in our highly computerized DC, you'll find that our systems will know which ones are reserve slots and also which ones are pick slot. So highly computerized DCs, the computer system must know where the different stock is at all times, and it is the computer system that allocates slot when the stock is received. Like I explained in our previous lessons, that our highly computerized distribution center, they know exactly where are we supposed to pack our stock when we receive it from our suppliers, because it knows the different methods that we are using. Remember, at the principles of laying out a distribution center, one of the principles was highly computerized DC. So the DC will know, the computer will know, it will tell you where are you supposed to put that particular stock. So when you are replenishing pick slots, it's where the stock is finished at that particular slot. Then you have to put in some more stock in order for pickers to be able to continue with picking the orders that are received from our retail store. Then when you have to do a letdown. When we are doing a letdown, even the word itself says it. A letdown is a term used when reserve stock is taken down into down its slot to a pick slot. It's where we are taking stock from a reserve slot to pick slot. Remember, we said reserve slots are in the upper height. So we have to take it from that height, bring it to a height where our pickers will be able to pick that particular stock. Like we said, it works differently, depends how well off is your distribution center. Like we said, some distribution centers, they do have cranes, they do have machines that you will use, so they don't need to separate pick slots and also reserve slot. But if you do not have such, you have to separate your slots so that it's easier, and you are minimizing injuries for your pickers at the distribution center. That will be the end of our lesson today. There are two activities that I would like you to complete in your workbook. It's activity 1.7 and also activity 1.8. And please remember, guys, you have to try by all means that you do these activities with understanding. Try by all means to write it with understanding. Do not just copy from the textbook into the workbook, because that is not learning. You have to first learn, get understanding, then be able to put it in your own understanding on how you understood these two topics that we dealt with, which is reserve and pick errors, and also replenishing of pick errors in a computerized distribution center. Thank you very much. See you on the next lesson.